Hey everybody, I said I'd do this at some point this week and I did just put out a video, but I'm kind of hyped. So we're going to take a look at this. I tested this out a little bit, but let's see how Stormgate is. Probably won't go too long. My voice is a little sore, but I kind of wanted to do this while I still had kind of my first thoughts on the game. So we'll deal with that in a second. By the way, I hope everybody had a great week. It's a long weekend here in Canada. Civic holiday or Terry Fox Day, depending on where in the country you are. So the story behind this is basically StarCraft 2 is dead. And they're not going to make StarCraft 3, and basically nothing is... Blizzard's just kind of dead at this point in time. So the people who did StarCraft 2 left, and they decided to form their own company, Frost Giant Studio, and the result of that was this game, Stormgate. So this is supposed to be the successor to StarCraft 2. They're basically going to have all the same features. They're going to have a campaign. They're going to have co-op. They're going to have competitive multiplayer and stuff like that. And they have promised basically the moon on this one. It's supposed to be a mixture of Warcraft, of SC2, and I think some other stuff. So, and Defense of the Ancients, Dota, which I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that. So I don't know. It says it's the early access. I was told, if you look at the various StarCraft YouTubers, that this was out, that this was the first release, but I don't know. We'll see. Let's just take a look at this. Okay, so something I immediately noticed with StarCraft 2. No, it's just that the game's been out for a really long time, and Blizzard's not going to release another campaign. They're not going to make StarCraft 3. It's just the developers had nothing to do. They refused to release more co-op commanders, stuff like that. So StarCraft 2 is still being made. So we have a campaign. We have co-op. I think there's only one commander at the moment. It looks like this is going to work basically exactly the same as the co-op in SC2, which is good because the co-op in SC2 I really enjoyed. There is your standard versus, which is good. Okay, that's nice. By the way, is it just me, or is the graphics in this kind of blurry? Now, I do have this set to max settings. I have it on ultra. Is there motion blur? Let me make sure there's no motion blur. What's super resolution? I don't know what super resolution is. Now, I'm going to say off the bat, there's something that's basically almost like makes me want to return this game just off the bat. And that is, there is no customizable hotkeys. That is right. Unlike SC2, you can't custom set hotkeys. You have to use grid, which I didn't use in SC2. I had a particular setup wherein, like, I tended to have the most used units set to, like, F, for instance. Like, I had pylons set to F, and, what else was there? I had pylons set to F, and, like, probe, and zealot, and stuff like that. And for Zerg, hatchery. The idea being, that was kind of the easy... I basically had it set up so the more common I used something, the easier It was to reach, so they've taken that out. Why they decided to take that out, I don't know. Maybe they'll add it back in. This is still early access. That just seems like something that's very easy to do. Like, I'm not a programmer. It just seems like reprogrammable hotkeys is just like a change to the text file or something. I could be wrong. Now, there is this thing called BuddyBot. Now, BuddyBot is apparently something that they've implemented that is for new players that are kind of overwhelmed, which is good. And it will automate some of the macro stuff for you. And let you focus more on just commanding troops. So that's kind of interesting. So we have 3 factions. I've just been playing against the AI. And I have some complaints about that right off the bat. Okay, so there's 3 factions. We have Vanguard, who's basically Terran, Infernal, who's Zerg, and Celestial, who's Protoss. To put it kind of mildly. Not exactly, but close. So, I don't really know what these different settings even are. Like, so Peaceful Bot, the opponent doesn't do anything. So that's fine. I don't know what the difference is between a basic bot and a practice bot. Like, of those two, I don't know which is easier and which is harder. I guess practice bot is harder. It's not very clear. Let me just take a look and see what they say under discussion. I don't know. It doesn't say anything. I don't see anything in the Steam discussions. There's no. Okay. So I think. Okay, so looking it up. Okay, so customizable hotkeys are coming, so that's good. Okay. So, from my understanding, you know what, I'm going to go back. Let's just go back, and I'm just going to play against the Peaceful Bot. Okay, 1v1 Boneyard. Okay, so I will try out Celestials. So I don't really know what the difference is between the 3 of these. It's not explained. I don't get why they couldn't just say, like, I guess Peaceful Bot makes sense, but like Easy Bot and Medium Bot, or it's just the worst naming system I think I've ever seen. So we're just going to put it on Peaceful Bot because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So, let's take a look at Celestials. So I've tried 1 game each with each of them just to see what it was like. I admit, whenever I start playing a new RTS, I just get very overwhelmed very quickly. Now, I don't know if it's just my computer or it's going to be fixed later. I just find this very blurry. I could be wrong. Maybe people in chat, you guys can tell me. But I just find, like, it just, maybe it's my eyesight. I just find the whole thing looks kind of blurry, to be honest. So, let's see here. So, it is on BuddyBot, so it's automating some aspects of this. So the Celestials are basically Protoss. You have, is that link nodes, or is there not any power fields here? You have power fields, which are basically pylons, and your nexuses move around, which is kind of cool. And then you can build collection arrays and workers in addition to it. You can only build collection arrays on luminite, which is the minerals, and then there is... that's another thing, like... It doesn't display the name when I click on something some of the time. Like, it... Okay, it says luminite mine, but it doesn't say... I forget what the other resource... Therium mine. It doesn't say Therium, so I don't know if they're going to... Hopefully they'll be adding that stuff in. Let's see here. What do I need? Creation chamber, so I can... Well, apparently these guys are fans of me, because their basic unit is called an Argent, which is based, so I kind of have to play as this faction now. Let's see here. So, maybe I'll build another... Should I build another arc ship? Well, it's made by Bob John. It's made by the same people who made Starcraft, because all the people left. The units don't look awful, I guess. I don't know. It's just, it's hurting my eyes a bit. That could just be me. It's, you know what it is? It's, the colors don't really pop out. I think that's the issue. The contrast is not very good. Everything just kind of looks a bit too pale. Hopefully you know what I mean by that. I hope I'm kind of making... It just looks kind of pale and not very well defined. And I'm having a little bit of trouble really seeing it. Yeah, I think that's the issue. I think there's much better color contrast. I think... I don't know. People in chat, do you get what I'm saying, or am I just sounding completely schizo? Okay. So my other immediate kind of issue is, I don't know, and this is just probably me because I just started playing it. The production buildings I find kind of look too similar. Here, I'm just going to build them and we'll take a look at them. Maybe that's just me because I'm not familiar with it yet. But, yeah. By the way, have I, like, been stuttering a lot lately, or, just losing my train of thought part of the way through? Because I feel like I've been doing that a lot, but that just could be me. I suspect I have some sort of illness. I was actually wondering if it was COVID, and I was looking at that in a... I went to a nearby pharmacy and like, do you guys have any COVID test kits? And they're like, no, we don't have COVID test kits anymore. We've never had COVID test kits. What is this COVID thing you're talking about? It was basically kind of the reaction I got. Okay. So that's interesting. Okay, so worker units can also build pylons. So I'm trying to think of how Celestial is balanced, because it seems like it's very easy for them to expand. Compared to other factions. Just because they don't have to build a main base in order to do it. So, I don't know, like, I feel like these two buildings, the Starforge and the Guardian Nexus, look a bit too similar. Something I kind of liked about SC2 was I feel like the buildings were a little bit easier to differentiate. Once again, that might just be me, and I might just not, like, be getting it. But it's kind of the impression I get a bit. Let's see here. Basic melee warrior. Okay. So the friend bot seems to be working pretty well, which is good. By the way, I'm having for those of you who aren't on the Discord server, there's a guy there who is Venezuelan, and he wanted to come on and talk about his experience with it. So I just said, you know what, that's cool. Sure, I'm willing to learn. I don't think his opinion of Madero is very positive, and people always seem to get mad. I don't know. That's one of the things that seems to piss people off quite a bit whenever I'm critical of Madero, the Venezuelan government. Let's see here. Yeah, he'll be on tomorrow. I don't know. Oh, Discord link expired? Okay. Well, I'll post a new one if people want to join. I just sometimes forget to redo them. Okay, he just messaged me. He's apparently putting a PowerPoint together, so that'll be cool. So, I don't know. If anyone wants to join the Discord, there's a link. So it looks like it's doing upgrades. Let me see. How many production buildings do I have? As the okay, so that's upgrading to Arc Station. More advanced units and structures. Okay. So let's go over here and take a look. Now this is on Peaceful Bot, so it's not going to do anything. Now this has creep camps. Now I don't really know what a creep camp even is, because I think that is that like a Warcraft 3 thing? I never played Warcraft 3, but apparently you kill them and you get bonuses for controlling them. So let's see how my units do. Okay, they seem to be reasonably powerful. So that seems to regenerate them. I think everything is basically you can turn autocast on, which is cool.
Conducting research.
Let's see here.
Our forces have engaged in battle.
Okay, so Chase Cape, I'm not crazy for thinking that it's too hard to. I find these units kind of hard to tell apart. Like, I can. Also, once again, there's just no color contrast. Like, the coloring on this unit, like, it all looks kind of similar. Same with this. It's just very, like, desaturated. I'm not really sure why they made that design choice. I'm very curious to see what other people think, if they're having similar thoughts of that, or it's just me. But that's kind of, so far, my issue, is the desaturation and general blurriness. Let's see, Legion Hall. I'll build some more stuff. Star Forage. What else do we have? So I guess there's not that many. I don't know, but once again, I just feel like those two look very similar, and then that looks similar. Oh no, I already built an Ascension Matrix. Okay. Creation Center, Star Forge. No, I have that.
Structure online.
Legion Hall. Okay, that's where I built advanced infantry. I mean, I don't dislike the design. It just it needs some work. And I get that this is early access, but I feel like the basic design of the units is something that probably should have been done first. But that's just kind of me. So let's move out. I think all the base the peaceful bot does is yeah. So the other thing I am concerned about, and this is just because I'm not used to it, is you have all these like particular powers, which I don't know. I'm gonna have to like figure that out, just because it's kind of another level of complexity. And I think one of the things that was nice about SC2 was it was not like the basic gameplay was, I don't think, that complex. Like all the other stuff was very complex. It's a bit like chess. Like the basic rules of chess are pretty simple and straightforward, but there's like an infinite amount of kind of depth you can have there. Whereas with it's in SC2 is kind of like that a bit. So I don't know. Are those guys supposed to be like zealots? I guess. So, I don't know, that's Celestial. So let's try Infernal next. Okay, so that was something. So let's try a different map. Okay, we're gonna do Infernal. I'll leave Buddy Bot on just for this. AI, and we'll do. I'll set this to Infernal. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how Celestial's balanced. I'm just not really sure. I'll have to look at like some higher tier matches. I don't really like the creep camps. I just feel it's kind of goofy. And it just kind of adds a feature that I don't really think is needed, but that could just be me. Now, so far I've actually liked Infernal. Just the couple games I've played. Obviously, they're kind of based on Zerg, so they have like charges and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool. This is kind of a neat map. Let's see here. Okay, so Meat Farm, Iron Vault. So yeah, it looks like you get some similar to Larva. There is charges on your units. It generates charges, and then you can build them once the charge is there. So, Gathering Luminite. I don't know if it's too simplistic to just have the one thing. I get that they're trying to simplify it, but I do wonder if it's overly simplified compared to Minerals, where you had like a multiple patches. But that's just me. So this is a So their supply building generates these Fell Hogs, which I think are also a defense unit. So let's see here. Brute. So that appears to be my basic melee unit. It looks like units basically instantly train. They just, yeah, so units instantly train, that's kind of neat. It's just limited by the number of charges. So I don't know if the idea is just that you have a lot, you'll just have to build a lot of production buildings. With this one, because of how bottlenecked it gets. Once again, though, you have the same issue. Like, I just feel these buildings look too similar. Also, that looks awful. That blood looks really bad in there. Like, that, there's no, like, texture on that. That's just like a pop-in texture or whatever, I think is the term. Let's see here. Permanently grants. Okay, so imps, I think, morph into buildings similar to... Okay, yeah. They morph into buildings similar to Zerglings. Sorry, drones. So I'll build a shrine over here.
Need more ore.
Gaunt. I'm not entirely sure what this thing above is. I think, is that shields or something like that? I'm not entirely clear like what it's supposed to be. Okay, I had set select all army key. I guess it didn't bind properly. That's cool. Let's see here.
Created.
I guess the blood disappears? Oh, no, the blood's back. Okay, so that pops up a bit. Let's try Gaunt. Brute.
March.
Structure created.
So, okay. So, oh, okay, so there's 2 Luminites there. So I guess that's very quick. I don't know, it just... It doesn't feel very smooth, it doesn't feel very... I get that it's not polished, I get that it's early access. I feel more overwhelmed with this than I did when I started playing Starcraft. There's just all this, like, shit that it's throwing at me.
Need more ore.
Okay, I need more ore. Or Therium. Okay.
Listen.
That's kind of a cool looking unit. Magmadon. White health. I guess white health is like shields. As best as I can determine. Hellborn. That's kind of cool looking unit.
Right behind. Obtain more supply.
What's the verdict? Will this replace SC2? Once again, it's like I have to be fair because it's not done and I just started playing it. Like I was not great at SC2, but I was gold. I was gold 1, so I don't know if that's like an achievement or not. But I was gold with both Zerg and Protoss. I didn't really know what I was doing as Zerg, but Zerg is so rare at the lower levels, at the lower leagues in SC2 that you basically, it's hard to not get to gold as Zerg because no one knows how to deal with Zerg. Also, Zerg probably has the Zerg has the highest skill cap. I would say of the 4. Actually, I'm not. No, that's not true. I think Terran does actually. In terms of micro, I think Terran has the most micro potential of the 3 races.
Structure created.
But like with Zerg, like most people can't wall at anything under like platinum, so it's pretty easy if you're playing a Zerg to just Zergling rush. Or what I would do is I'd kind of call it a macro cheese, where I'd play a macro game, but I'd throw a couple of Zerglings in.
Forces are in battle.
Harbinger. Okay, so there is some transport. I think they were trying to nerf aircraft in this game, which I'm okay with because I found them kind of annoying in SC2. That might just be because I didn't really play with aircraft. I played ground toss, so that might have been it. But yeah.
Structure created.
In the really low leagues, in SC2, if in silver at least, if you can do any kind of macro, then you're probably going to do fairly well. Because most people don't have a build order, and most people don't expand. What really frustrated me, and the reason I stopped playing it, despite liking the game quite a bit, is I found it just kept throwing. It tries to force you to have a 50% win rate, which I get why. I just found a lot of the time it was just throwing me against opponents I had no chance at beating. Now, I'd say about maybe 15% of the people I would face were Smurfs. If you don't know, a Smurf is someone who deliberately quits games to lower their MMR so that they can play against lower tier players. And generally speaking, like, they'll do humiliation builds or just really dumb shit. I found about 15% of the games were like that, and it was it's demotivating, to be honest.
Structure created.
But, like, I guess what I felt was, it wasn't putting me, like, the matchmaking didn't put me up against people who were slightly better than me. I felt like it would about a third of the time like put me against people who had no idea what they were doing. A third of the time put me up against people who were a comparable skill level. And a third of the time just put me up against people who would crush me and there wouldn't even really be a game. And it's just, I don't know. I would just like it if I could have faced people who were a bit better than me. Like maybe one league above or something like that. So, I don't know. SC2 is really good. It's very frustrating though. I get that that's by design. It's just I just kind of got tired of that. Even if in one or two games you play against as a Smurf, it's just very humiliating and very it just makes you not want to play it. It depends on the league. I think silver was worse than gold for Smurfs, but I don't know.
Awaiting further instructions.
We have dogs. It looks very much like the dog from Red Alert, which is cool.
Bot activated.
Okay, they're doing a barracks. So I had some issues with the matchmaking in SC2, and that's ultimately why I stopped playing it.
Reporting for work.
I just felt that I was getting, like, crushed too often. Or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I actually had, like, a decent... I think I actually had a positive win ratio. I think my win ratio was, like, 55 or something. It's just...
Construction complete.
I don't know.
Boot up complete.
I might just be completely, high. I don't really remember, actually, why I stopped playing SC2.
Construction complete.
Maybe I'll start playing it again. This is making me kind of want to. The game with the absolute worst matchmaking of all time, though, is Magic the Gathering Arena. The matchmaking in that is just it's I don't know if I don't play very many online games, but I don't know if there's games where I've lost like 12 matches in a row before. And I find that happens to me a lot in Magic the Gathering Arena. And I mean, people can say, oh, well, it's a skill issue and you suck, and I agree. But why can't I be up against other people who suck? Is just kind of my issue. I feel like the matchmaking doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so I'm often up against people I just...
Robot engaged.
Like, also, I don't know. I have one or two really good decks. I feel though like in some formats there's just there's no room to just try something different. You have to play tier 1 meta or you just can't even play the game. My other big issue with MTG Arena is there's just not enough cards. Like
Not enough luminite.
when I'm trying to make a deck, the options, I just feel like there's about 60 to 70% of what you would need
Robot engaged.
to make a particular deck type, archetype. And then it just feels like there's kind of a hole. So, I don't know. There's too many games I play, like just daily things. I need to drop a couple.
I'm here.
And maybe just focus on one or two. Maybe MTG Arena. Also, just the last set they put out was garbage. They did a Wild West theme set, which I just think has no place. I don't know. It's just a lame setting. It's just a lame setting. It had lame mechanics. I just didn't really like it. I liked the couple Phyrexia sets we had last year, like Chase Chape used to pay. Yeah, the cheeses and all-in timing attacks every game. Yeah, it's. So when I was looking at my my SC2 stats, if for matches that went on longer than like 6 minutes, I had like a 60 to 70% win rate. Less than that, I had like a 20% win rate, or something like that. Was what I had on lower, because I thought I was not bad at macroing, like expanding, keep building probes, getting upgrades and stuff like that. I just tended to wait too long to start building an army. And kind of one of my issues, now I remember, so one of my issues was the community I find is really obnoxious, because I would keep getting into problems, and the excuse and the advice was always just macro better. It would be like, just macro better. Like just build more units. It's like, just build more zealots. Zealots counter battle cruisers. Just macro better. Like, and there was just no explanation for anything.
Complete.
So I don't know if this was, what race did you play, Chase? Because
Robot engaged.
I found like about a quarter of the Terrans I played just did battle cruiser rush, and it was just incredibly annoying.
Construction complete.
So it was just every game it was battle cruiser rush, and battle cruisers are just really really good, and they reach a critical mass. Yeah, it was like always turtle Terran into battle cruiser rush, like every game. They always did the drop. Now, I got decently good doing the drop, defending against the Terran drop. I actually preferred facing Terran. Zerg was where I really struggled. Part of that is just that there's no, like, real... you just don't play against Zerg very often. And Protoss can be a little slow to get going.
Construction complete. Construction complete.
The other... I'm trying to remember what the other stuff I did that I found kind of annoying was... yeah, it was... so, anyway, so yeah, so like I was saying...
Reporting for work.
So, does Wagner still exist? Have they changed their name? Because I find it very ambiguous whether they... Or did they just not operate in... Do they still exist, but they don't operate in Russia anymore? Directly. Is that the way it's gone? I'm not really sure. But... Yeah, so sorry, back to what I was saying. With battle cruiser, like, rushes... everyone just said macro better, and then one person actually explained it, and they're like, early game, Blink Stalkers, and then mid to late game, Void Rays. And I was just like, okay, well, thank you for actually explaining to me what you're supposed to do. Because macro better is not helpful. Chase Chap said, I played Protoss, Zergs without fail, all in me every game. Yeah, that tended to happen. Terran was my preferred matchup. Yep. And PvP was always Jesus. I actually figured out how to deal with cannon rushes. It took me quite a while. The way you deal with cannon rushes is you just build another base somewhere else on the map. And I found that generally speaking worked pretty well. Was I would just build... Yeah, I just build a base somewhere else, and they would just sink a ton of money into cannon production. If I got like one of my own cannons up protecting my mineral line, then I couldn't build anything else at my main base, but I could still mine. and they would just blow through a lot of stuff and not build
Order
probes.
complete.
Cannon Rush is incredibly annoying and frustrating, though. But there was that. Yeah, so eventually, so I read that, and they're like, yeah, just build Void Rays. And then I tried doing that one game,
I'm here to
and the Void Rays just
Construction
completely
complete.
just slaughtered the battle cruisers. And I'm just like, oh,
placing
okay. Well, I wish I would have known that. Macro better wasn't very helpful. Like I get if you build more stuff, that's gonna help, but certain units have counters, and I'm not really sure. Also, it's kind of rough because Protoss doesn't get very good anti-air compared to the other factions. Like, I just don't think Stalkers are very good. I get it that pros use Stalkers really heavily, but I don't know. I don't really like them.
Construction complete.
They're expensive, and they don't really do anything that well.
Order complete.
I mean, they do like mediocre damage. They're very fragile. Winter's advice, and I think he made a good point, was just don't get Blink Stalkers unless you need them.
Construction.
Because what happens is you try to micro them, and a lot of the time, that was actually the big revelation that I found is, like, don't worry too much about microing your units, just focus on building shit. And that's more important, because what happens is if people are trying to be fancy and doing all this micro stuff, then they can get distracted. Once again, though, and I'm just going to talk a bit about Vanguard, all these buildings look the same to me.
Construction complete.
Like that looks very similar to that. That looks very similar.
Upgrade. Construction
I would
complete.
like it if there was a bit more I don't know, variety is the thing. But I don't know. Let's see. Is anyone in chat saying anything? If anyone is interested, I did a video earlier on that
Upgrade complete.
earlier on today about the whole Review Tech USA thing where he exposed himself on stream. So the whole thing is actually kind of amazing. It's very fascinating. Maybe I'll go into it some other time. My voice is starting to get tired, so I'll probably leave after this game. I just wanted to give this a try. I admit I'm not really liking it so far. That could just be that I find it overwhelming. I don't have the patience I used to have when I was younger for learning new mechanics. So I'll just have to try it. This might be one where I don't really play it 1v1. I might just play campaign and like or versus AI and co-op. Because co-op was a lot of fun in SC2. I think more people actually played co-op than played the normal. I don't get why they stopped making co-op commanders, because, I don't know, I felt like that was actually pretty popular. I don't know, they could have just kept making new levels and new commanders and stuff like that. I feel like exos are really bad. Like, they just don't, they seem to have very low DPS.
Let's get cracking. Ready when you are.
Anyways, I think that's about all I'm going to do. I just kind of wanted to come on and try it. Like I said, I'm not really impressed. I don't know if I'd necessarily say it's bad. It might just be a case of it's not my thing. And I don't like the more, how'd you put it, Warcraft 3 elements that they added in. But I'll try it again maybe when it's a bit closer to final release date. So, God bless everybody and have a good evening.